for tonight, we've got a few topics. I think the big one for the night is where we'll start. We'll just jump on into our big topic here with the House of David.
Yeah.
And it's Amazon Prime show, or is it
Yes, but
through who?
Wonder. So that's the name of the channel. It's Wonder.
Okay.
You can get an add-on for your.
So it's not directly Amazon. It's an add-on that you can access through Amazon. Okay. But we're watching it on Amazon Prime.
No, it is. I think that this channel is exclusively available on Amazon Prime. Word is eventually it will be on regular Prime, but right now you have to pay to watch it.
But it's something, does it belong to Amazon?
I think so.
It's like something that they're looking to put certain types of programming on.
I think it's their kind of PureFlix basically equivalent.
Okay.
I think is kind of what they're going in for that. I know there were a couple of other things that I saw that they were advertising.
Nicole says she gets up at 3:50 to 4 a.m. If I get up at 3:50, I go get some water and I go back to bed. Yeah, I don't know. That's crazy. I'd have trouble doing that every day. But part of that's because I'm usually up at 1 or 2. So going to work at 4 seems kind of like a stretch.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there have been some, for a long time, I only ever had ugly things to say about Christian entertainment. It's just a fact.
It's changing.
It is changing. And it's, there have been a couple of really distinct kind of pushes in Christian entertainment, right? Mm-hmm. There was in the 90s, there was the beginning, like Focus on the Family. We're like, ooh, we're making movies, There was the Buttercream Gang, and there was, like a spat of really kids entertainment. There was McGee and Me. There was The Last Chance Detectives. And you have to be a special kind of nerd to know this. But they had this, that I mean, it seemed good as a kid. So, it seemed like good entertainment at the time. I don't know how good any of it actually was in retrospect, but there was in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, there was a big push for, Kirk Cameron decided that, yes, Last Chance Detectives. Did you know that there were movies? Last Chance Detectives were movies as well. They were, like I said, I thought they were good at the time. They may not. I'd have to watch them again to know, to have an opinion.
They might have been good. And I will give it, that was in an era where they were trying.
They were.
But they didn't necessarily seek out the resources that they really should have had.
No, it was all definitely low budget, but it was a lot of it. It wasn't super duper preachy. A lot of it,
right?
Yes, The Mystery of the Navajo Lights. Yes, I think there are 2 or 3 of those movies. Yeah. See, you also grew up going to Sunday school. I bet you watched lots of VeggieTales when you were a teenager too. But actually, VeggieTales was part of the push in the early 2000s to kind of reimagine what Christian entertainment could be, right?
Well, it was probably some of the most highly successful of the
absolutely.
lot.
It was really an experiment in Christian entertainment that was entertaining for its own sake, that was actually had entertainment value aside from the Sunday school lesson. And I mean, gosh, VeggieTales is still endlessly quoted. It's so quotable, endlessly quotable. Hello, children. Nice to meet you. Go away. Right. Again, you have to be a special kind of nerd to get that reference. But also around the same time, like I said, there was Fireproof. There was the Left Behind movies. All again, Kirk Cameron. Lord love him. He was going to be the next big thing. Then he found Jesus and decided to make bad movies.
Yeah,
which is unfortunate.
I think the problem is the problem was at the time, and it still exists. I mean, these movies are definitely still getting made. is that they thought there's this idea that we can make this stuff and we don't have to have a big budget, because as long as we stamp a cross on the front of it, the Christians will watch it.
Yes.
So we can go low budget, and as long as we say it's about Jesus, enough people will watch it to make money. And the problem was movies like the one you mentioned, like Fireproof. Oh, I'm sorry, Nicole. I see that you like Fireproof.
Andrew did not.
That movie was like that was the straw that broke the camel's back for me, with like being absolutely disgusted with the way Christian entertainment was being made.
And honestly, the thing is not that they don't have merit, but it was like
they have merit, but
like every Christian must see this movie.
Right. And the thing is like, you're saying that statement because you heard pastors say that.
Yes. 100%. Every Christian needs to watch this movie every year. You know, it's War Room is better than Fireproof. I don't think I actually saw War Room.
Yeah, I hadn't seen War Room. I mean, so Fireproof, like there are places where it tried, but the problem with things like Fireproof is the way Fireproof literally stops its progression as a film and has a gospel presentation in the middle of the movie, right? And it doesn't seem organic. It doesn't seem, so we're not doing the movie for the movie's sake and letting the movie speak for itself. We literally got people in here, and the problem is the only people that are watching this movie on purpose
don't need to be converted,
are already saved.
Right.
Right. So why are we so the question is, why can't we make good quality entertainment? If we're wanting to make this for people who are already Christian, we don't need a gospel presentation for starters. I would argue that even if we're making things I would argue that if we're making these things for non-Christians, that we also should let the movie tell the story and not have to break the pacing of the film to do a gospel presentation.
Yeah. Okay, so Nicole, I think this is also a really important point. So, I was going through a very dark time when Fireproof came out. I needed hope, and at the moment, it's what I needed.
Look, and that's the thing. I don't want to discount, because there are things that will catch you when you need them, and they may not be the best things ever made. They may not be, but they just catch you at a time when you needed that thing.
And honestly, I think that it's not that I want to see that kind of Christian entertainment not be made at all. Well, because I think that it does have a place. But
I do too, but it's the production values on it were so bad.
Yeah.
And it's like, if we want people to watch this stuff, we need it. We need to quit making things. As Christians, we shouldn't make things and hope that, well, people are just going to watch it because it's about Jesus. We should literally, this is the problem. Everybody's like, well, Hollywood's the devil, and Hollywood's this and that. And you say, well, where's our competing product? We can't just sit back and complain about it. They're never going to make the things that we want in that aspect. We have to make them. This is Zachary Levi has really been talking very strongly about this stuff lately. Like, we can't, like, we have to make it, and we have to, and we can't just do it half-heartedly. We've got to find the money, and we've got to put the budget behind it. And so, Nicole, I will say, like, I'm very glad that movie was there when you needed it. But I will say, but I guess my point is, I want to throw one out there. We're way off topic, but
well, no, but it comes around.
The Resurrection of Gavin Stone. This is sort of Dallas Jenkins' launching point,
which is funny because I was pitching. I was like, I was telling people who. I was like, if you want to make Christian movies, you need to watch The Resurrection of Gavin Stone, and you need to watch The Chosen, because those are the things that are really upping the ante on the quality of script writing, the quality of just production values in general.
Yeah.
Just everything about the production values.
Right.
And doing things very well with the budget that they had, because the budget for the first season of The Chosen and for the Resurrection of Gavin Stone were not huge.
No.
But they did. Okay, let me tell you about a conversation I literally had with the producer. She says, well, I read this script and it wasn't going to go anywhere as it was written. So, it's just not that good of a story, but I think it can do something in the religious market, literally. And I was like, okay, well, that's, and this is the thing is, a lot of times the people making these movies are producers who do not believe in any of the things that they're touting in their movies. They're just like, oh, we'll sell this to the Christians because they don't know any better.
Yeah.
And I think that it is past time for to consume media not only for its value, for its message value, but also for its value as art, as its own medium. And I think that has been a movement just within the past few years. You've really seen, and there was a weird little moment where they were like, let's make Bible stuff, but let's make it sexy and let's totally change the story and let's make it weird.
Well, we had that Noah movie a few years ago.
It wasn't just that. There was a whole rash of stuff right around that time. Like, like, oh, we're going to make, we're going to make Jesus movies with sex scenes in them. And it was like, right.
And now you're going, wait, now who is your target audience?
Yeah. It's like, there was a lot of real confusion about the target audience there for a moment, but.
Wow. We lost everybody out of the chat.
But there for just a second,
we are still alive, right?
But there for just a second, there was a lot of real confusion. But there has been a shift in, the amount of money that they're spending. It's like hearkening back to the days of like 10 Commandments. See, I haven't seen War Room. I heard about it, but
I don't know that I've heard of that one at all.
But budgets for things like the House of David, they're filming this entire show in in the Mediterranean, in Greece.
Mm-hmm.
They're filming it like all over the region. And that's a huge departure from the sort of money that people have been willing to invest in Christian entertainment. For the first time in a really long time, people are, for the first time really since like CLB DeMille, like 10 Commandments, King of Kings,
right.
The Passion, right, was kind of a blip.
I think the Passion is the moment where a lot of people went, wait a minute, because it was a new generation. The good quality stuff you had previously is like old. It's Charlton Heston. Like, so you got a whole generation or two that have never, they might be aware of it, but not that are like in love with that movie. And if you haven't seen the 10 Commandments, you should obviously see it. It's
so Let It Be Written,
one of the most spectacular movies ever made.
Yeah.
But the Passion, I think, is a moment, and gosh, you got to get that's
20 years ago.
Yeah. And so, but it's a moment where you go, okay, we can spend the money, we can have the production values, we can have the acting. And
all of a sudden,
of course, that's what launched that last wave of really bad stuff. Where everybody tried to jump on the but
it's also what made that it's what I think it is what started the ball rolling on things like, so the Passion, right? People all of a sudden realize you can make a you can make I don't even know how much money they spent on that movie. A lot.
On the Passion.
but you can make a blockbuster movie, and there are enough religious people in this country that will turn out to see it that you can make your money. Like you don't have to just assume that you're going to lose money because your movie is $600 million.
So I'm just looking at that. This would be one of the most successful movies of all time, given that. So the Passion of the Christ gross revenue $610 million on a $30 million budget.
Wow. I mean, $30 million is actually fairly low budget.
Yeah.
But it was, but Mel Gibson like paid for it.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of this one, Nicole, but I will pretty much go in for anything with Kelsey Grammer. So yeah,
he's always entertaining.
Check that one out.
But 20 years later, people are kind of picking up again on the biblical epic, and not just like let's throw a biblical title on this movie and just tell our own story, but like let's actually tell a, not word for word, obviously, but a biblically grounded story, and let's spend real money on it.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen The Chosen, it's phenomenal.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, I know, like, depending on where you are religiously, I know some people, because we kind of run in a circle where a lot of people are, oh no, don't watch that. It's evil to watch portrayals of Jesus on screen. Well, I would say that if the studio,
this is Jesus, obviously that would be confusing.
Right. But a lot of the things that I see is like, the things that people say, and I'm like, if watching a man portray Jesus on screen is going to cause you to stumble, then one, don't do it. Two, you need to evaluate yourself.
Yeah, like
you need to evaluate your walk with Christ. Like,
and they've been very vocal about, like, this is not a substitute for reading your Bible.
Yeah.
Right. It's a this is a,
in fact, Jonathan Rumi has done a lot to encourage people to read their Bibles.
Yeah, he has. Karen Kingsbury books are fun. I'm a little surprised they haven't made more movies of them. But the latest kind of edition, I guess, the latest movie or the latest show in this sort of trend is House of David.
Yeah.
And I watched this. So the first season came out. This is actually really unusual. The first season came out in like April, because I was watching it while I was working. So the first season came out in April and the second season just came out. So I'm assuming they must have filmed them back to back.
Yeah. So a lot of these studios now, with their as people are still trying to kind of figure out the like how to work in this new streaming environment. Mm-hmm. You're seeing more and more that are like, so they're either filming it all back, like all at once, or they basically they film the first half.
Yeah.
And then that goes off to post. And then they just continue filming. So they film it like a single season.
Yeah. And I suspect that that's what they must have done with this. But so I watched season 1 when it first came out back at the earlier in the year. But Andrew and I just watched through. I tend to like to watch through things twice if it's something that I engage with. If it's, if it's something I just couldn't care less about, I'll just watch. But things like this that I will probably watch the next season. I tend to like to watch twice.
Yeah.
So,
well, see, I ignored it originally because I saw a movie about David on Amazon. I figured it was just going to be like, I figured it was going to be like the Robin Hood show that we tried to start the other night, which we will get to in a minute.
Okay, there was a House of Saul, I think, TV show on FX.
They connected
a couple of years ago.
Any connection?
No.
Okay.
No. And it was the same one. It was like, why so many sex scenes in your Bible show? Like, this is not. It didn't even finish the first season. It was very, and it was the whole tone was off.
Yeah. So Nicole, I'm curious. We mentioned the resurrection of Gavin Stone. Have you seen that movie? Because if you haven't, it's very good, and it seems to kind of be in line with a lot of the stuff you like. And it's a Christmas movie, right? Or it's an Easter movie. It's an Easter movie.
Yeah.
But it's for me. Well, so it's and I didn't mention. I said it's a Dallas Jenkins. If you don't know, Dallas Jenkins went on to make The Chosen.
Yes.
But I think one of the other driving factors here with stuff like House of David, and the fact that we have an upcoming sequel to The Passion of the Christ, is that The Chosen, when they lost their distribution through Angel, said, well, we've got to figure out, they lost access to a lot of their crowdfunding stuff they were doing through Angel. Actually, it sounds like Angel didn't want to turn over all the money, wanted to use it for other projects. And so they left Angel and they said, we got to make this money back, put it in theater. And it made money. So,
I mean, only like 2 days in the theater, like not like a theatrical run, like just a real short, couple of days. And yeah, it was definitely a successful plan.
Yeah.
But Zachary Levi mentioned the House of David coming out whenever we saw him in New Orleans.
True.
And so when I saw it kind of pop up, I was like, okay, I'm curious. Like I'll watch an episode of most things, and get a feel for it. And I watched the first episode and I was like, this is unexpectedly good.
Well, let's use this. Let's transition from the general discussion and let's just talk House of David.
Yeah. So there are definitely a lot of elements that they've chosen to include that are from books that everybody considers to be apocryphal. So really, like 3-second discussion on canon. There's what the Protestants consider to be the canon, 66 books, right? Old and New Testament. There are some additional books that are known at the Protestants call the Apocrypha. They are included in some Protestant canons and Catholic canon, and for reasons.
Right, but even Catholics have it as a separate, like they're still like this thing.
The Apocrypha. No. They're. I mean, it's. They're. I think that they're actually. I don't think they're all gathered together. I think they're interspersed throughout the Catholic Bible.
Okay.
But there are several books that are considered apocryphal, which is, possibly beneficial, but not inspired by pretty much everyone.
Yeah.
Things like the Book of Enoch. The Book of Enoch is probably the most famous apocryphal book.
Well, it's fascinating.
Yes, it's a weird book.
It's if you want to read the most science fiction thing from that era in time, like, talking about pillars of science fiction.
Also quoted in the Book of Jude.
True.
Which is why there's a lot of debate over whether Jude should be considered canon or not. Anyway, again, I'm a special kind of nerd. But there are a lot of elements that are included in the show, not major elements, but story points like David's mother being like a foreigner, and his parents' marriage being not valid or not married or something. He says in Psalm 51, I think, "In sin my mother conceived me." And so some people have taken that to be, well, obviously David must have been illegitimate. And so they've sort of latched onto that in this series. There's also some, some things that aren't presented as is fact, but like this is the story about where the giants come from, right? Lots of things about the Nephilim and the sons of God and the daughters of men.
It's borrowing from Enoch directly.
Yes, all of that stuff is, and there's also some things that are sort of like Mishnah, like rabbinical. Is that the word?
I think so.
It's basically Jewish traditions that are not scripture, but are very old traditions.
Rabbinical.
What's that?
Rabbinical, right?
Rabbinical, yes, that's the one. So, but all that being said, these are mostly auxiliary things, like the essence of Saul and who Saul is. Saul's rejection of God as the king and as a sovereign, his shift from viewing himself as a servant to viewing himself as the boss, right? Which is definitely how the Bible presents it. He and a lot of the dialogue is taken directly from the books of 1st and 2nd Samuel. Samuel tells Saul, you were small in your own eyes, and the Lord raised you up, and now you have become great in your own eyes, and he is going to take it from you. And I feel like, in spite of some of the auxiliary things being, creative license, right? The essence of their portrayal of the characters, I feel like, is very consistent with the way they're presented in the Old Testament.
Right. And I think that's the important thing. I mean, if they wanted to tell the story of David as a kid, which they obviously need to do because it's important to the early part of the story, you're going to need to fill in some blanks.
I mean, and
honestly, so instead of just making it up, they at least, in fact, I'd applaud them for kind of going to the extra biblical sources.
The oldest extra, basically, they pulled things from all of the oldest extra biblical sources that deal with the issues.
But I think the most
hard to criticize,
right? And so I think the most important thing is I think that the characters at their core of who the Bible tells us they were really comes through. I think Saul is very on point. I think David's very on point. And the one I really appreciate is Jonathan. I think they did an incredible job with Jonathan as well.
Yeah, because I always like reading through the book of 1st and 2nd Samuel and 1st and 2nd Chronicles, right? Like I was always like struck. It's like, like all indications are that Jonathan would have actually been a very good Israelite king.
Yeah.
He had all of the evidence, all of the things that you would look at and be like, yes, this man is he loves the Lord, and he has, is committed to all of the things, right? And I think that they have done a really excellent job, especially with Saul, with David, with Jonathan, and with Samuel.
Yeah,
this is one of Samuel has been represented on screen several different times in several different stories, but this one, man, like he's not just like like the weird old creepy prophet who kind of slinks around like a wizard, like, which is kind of how sometimes people like to present Samuel.
Yeah,
like he might as well be Gandalf. Although, okay, I'm not gonna lie, the stick is very Gandalf.
I mean, the thing is, he would have had a staff.
Yes.
But the fact that it looks like
Gandalf's staff.
Yeah.
It looks like Gandalf's staff. But that being said, they really...
That being said, those are sort of inspiration points for Tolkien, so I appreciate the inverse there. I don't think it was an accident.
No, but I saw that. I was like, all right, okay, the stick's a little on the nose. But they very... like a lot of things you can tell they put a lot of thought into in the episode where David finally comes up against Goliath. He has a sling in one hand and he has a stick in the other, because Goliath says, "Why do you come at me with sticks? Am I a dog that you come at me with a stick?" And so you can tell that they were definitely like really dialed in on a lot of details that I think create a lot of texture in the story. Like they didn't just sort of make up all the details. They were paying close enough attention to insert details that are consistent with the biblical narrative, which is, that's more than can be said for the Ten Commandments sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, awesome movie. Like, definitely don't take it to your Sunday school class. It gets a lot of things wrong. Not maliciously, but like, there are a lot of details that they just choose to kind of ignore.
Right.
And so the other thing that I do appreciate about the most current crop of Bible movies is that they have intentionally been casting actors who are not European, like who aren't white. They're the actor who's playing Joseph is a Coptic Christian from Egypt.
Playing who?
David.
David.
Yes.
You said Joseph.
I said Joseph.
You said Joseph, and I went, "Whoa, wait a minute."
Yeah, no, different guy. Yeah, the actor who plays David is in fact, all of the actors that you're looking at, I'm like, why is he white? They're Jewish. All of the actors, and I'm like,
yeah,
why did they cast a white guy? Like everybody else here is like distinctly Middle Eastern, and then there's like a white guy. It's like, oh, well, because the white guy's Jewish. Okay, right. I guess that's fair.
Yeah, that's a nitpick. I mean, that's a thing that's no, I'm not saying what you're saying is a nitpick. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, some people get real hung up on the skin colors of the people, but like first of all, like there's mistakes that believing that, well, is the Jewish people looked like Arabs. Well, they didn't. But they were Mediterranean, and the Mediterranean was a very sort of rangy, broad ranged in skin tones. And
the only thing that you can pretty much guarantee is that they did not look like me.
Yeah, no, that's that northern Scotland skin.
Yeah, the Scotland skin that don't like the sun. The Scotland skin's the reason now I got to get checked by the dermatologist every 6 months for the rest of my life. Thank you, Scotland skin and semi-tropical climates.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I would say that the first season is phenomenal. I really enjoyed it. There hasn't been a whole lot of series over the last few years that I'm like, I want to watch the next episode. Mm-hmm. Like I'm ready to watch the next episode. And this one's that. I mean, it's like, and I think anytime that you get one like this, it's like, well, because you kind of go, well, I already know the story. Mm-hmm. And so tell me the story that I know in a way that's enjoyable, and they're doing that. It's been a very, very good series. The acting is top notch. You've seen further in than I have. Don't spoil it for me. I don't want to spoil any for anybody here, because I'm hoping some of the people watching will go.
Presumably, most of us have probably read the book,
right? But I'm just saying, like, so yes, we've read the book, but obviously, as we've already discussed, some of the portrayals are. The way they portray the character doesn't necessarily have to come directly from the Bible. And true. So, like, Saul still has to have some big moments here for a while.
Yeah.
And so he can't be crazy all the time. And that's I would say my concern with the direction of the show is, like, Saul still needs to be a battlefield commander for a while.
Yeah. He dies in battle. He doesn't die in his bed,
Right. So
he dies on the battlefield fighting the Amalekites?
Maybe. I'm gonna.
Now that's gonna bother
I'd be
me.
guessing.
I was thinking about this as I was falling asleep last night. I was like, who did they die fighting? Because they keep one interesting kind of.
Hey Nick, thanks for jumping in.
What's the word? something that they can kind of device. That's it. A device that they kind of use is basically when Samuel tells him that that God has taken the kingdom from his hands, then he starts to have these like visions of his death, right? Of his defeat, of his final, the end of his reign as king. And I was going somewhere with that. I slept very little last night, y'all.
Hey, Spencer. Thanks for jumping in the chat.
But they kind of continue this because, you know, like everybody, if you don't know how Saul's story ends, it's not too hard to find out. But they managed to continue to tell a story that still feels compelling, even though you know what happens. Like, you know, from the second from the very beginning, whenever Saul makes his fateful decision to go to battle without the blessing, right? That this is it. This is the last straw. There's no coming back from this.
Right.
But yet they still managed to tell a compelling story of people with very different motivations and very believable motivations. And I think that's something that they've done very well, is they've, a lot of times in an effort to humanize historical characters, they make them just like super modern. And they're
right.
Like,
and
it is we
sort of inadvertently make them someone that the Bible doesn't indicate, you know, the source material doesn't indicate they were.
Right. It's like, you know, a lot of the, you know, the rash of obsession with Tudor TV shows about the Tudors. It's like, and you know, they have this weird sort of like modern, like, oh, I'm a modern woman and I have rights, and it's like, I mean, it's 1430.
Right.
Like,
well, it's the same thing every time we make a King Arthur movie, and we either make King Arthur like complete ineffectual character and scummy on top of it, which doesn't work narratively for who he is, or we do something weird with Merlin. One of the two. We're going to do something weird. We're going to make those characters we're not going to pull in from the source material, right, and we're going to change who they are to fit a modern narrative. Or we do Robin Hood and he has PTSD from the Crusades, and
or even better, most recent Robin
Hood. Oh, we're definitely going to get into the new Robin Hood.
So disappointing, y'all. It was so sad. Anyway, we're not talking about that right now. We're still talking about David. Yeah, if you haven't watched it,
yeah, I don't have really a whole lot more I want to say, because I don't want to spoil it, because I would, you know.
But the other thing that I appreciate about it is it is a historical drama, right? David is famously described as a man of blood. He wants to build a temple right at the end of his life. He wants to build a temple, and God tells him no, because he is a man of blood.
Yeah.
And the series doesn't really shy away from that, because it is a warlike time, and these are warlike people. But also it's not gratuitous, and it's something that I wouldn't watch with like my 5-year-old, but I could watch with my kids. You know, and I do appreciate that in historical works of any kind. It's not a new Robin Hood movie. It's a new Robin Hood show.
Yeah, we're definitely going to get there here in just a second.
Pluribus. I don't know this. What is this? Something about, obviously it's something Roman. Presumably, or maybe not. Maybe it's not. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it. It's
don't
on
either.
Apple. And
I assume because the name was Latin that it was going to be historical drama, because we were talking. Yeah, I'll have to look into it though. But yes, it's definitely David is definitely an encouraging trend. In I think it bodes well for just religious, faith-based entertainment. I think that it's another. I think it's a really good step. I think it's another really solid sort of, another just really solid. Gosh, I can't my words. It's another good thing, y'all. I had like, it's a great addition to the canon of historical faith-based drama.
Yeah. So like, I think we would both highly recommend The House of David.
Yeah.
That along with The Chosen has really upped the game.
So I think you kind of you sort of came in on the end of this conversation, Nick. And this has definitely been a big issue that I've had with Hollywood telling biblical stories, but I've been pleased with some of the things that have come out in the past couple of years, including House of David, which is what we're currently talking about, because the things that they do sort of add in narratively are, even if they're extra biblical, they're from very old sources. So
they're not attempting to modernize the
characters. They're not trying to tell the characters David for a new era. I'm not into all that. But anyway, if any of y'all decide to watch it, I think episode 7 of season 2, I think, will land on Sunday.
Is it another 8-episode season?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, if anybody else sees it and has thoughts on it, we would, if anybody wants to come talk it at some point, especially once season 2 finishes up.
Yeah, because we'll definitely cover all of it.
Yeah.
Fully once season 2 is out. Hey there, sci-fi fans. We hope you enjoyed this clip from a previous live stream of the Science Fictionary podcast. We hope you'll go check out other episodes. We hope you'll hit that like and that subscribe button. And please go check out all of our friends over at the Red 5 Network. And as always, may the Force be with you.